Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4 should have been pretty straightforward because they're all just triangles. Triangles have 3 angles. It gave you 2 of them and it wanted you to find the third. How do you find a missing angle in a triangle? What do you know about the angles in a triangle? Luke?
They all add up to 180.
Okay, they add up to 180. So if I know 2 of the angles, I can find the third one by just subtracting by 180. Okay? So 65 plus 57 is, so that'd be 110 and 12, I think 122. So that tells me I have 122 degrees in there right now. And then subtract that from 180 to find your missing one. So 180 minus 122 is going to be 58 degrees. Okay. So your question mark there, 58 degrees. Okay. Now let's look down at something like number 6. Number 6, the triangle only has 1 angle in it. But how could I get another angle that's inside that triangle? What's something else I know in 30 or in number 6? Is that? Okay, 35 is the same as this angle, right? How do I know that? How do I know that these two are the same? What kind of angles are those? Starts with a V. Vertical. Those are vertical angles. Okay, imagine you're going to put down the calculator, make sure you're writing this down.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're going to want to pay attention up here to what I'm doing, okay? So, these are vertical angles. This one's 35 degrees. Now I can find this one. This one I have to do in kind of multiple steps. So what would I do to find that angle that has the star?
Yeah, 35 is 100.
Okay. So I'm doing 100 plus 35 equals 135. And then what do I do with that? Okay. Oh, now actually, I was going to have us add these together to find that angle and then subtract from 180. Anyone see a shortcut to that? If I'm looking for this exterior angle, which 2 could I just add together? Guys, you don't need to talk to each other if I'm talking. Okay. If I'm looking for this angle, which 2 can I add together? Yeah, the 35 and the 100. Remember that rule we learned about the remote interior angles? So these 2 added together just equals that one. So my missing angle would be 135. Okay. Okay, let's do a couple on the back. Good. Darian, I'm just going over a couple on each page. If you did them, you should be following along and checking your answer. If those were ones you didn't do, you should be writing down the ones that I do. Okay?
What page are we on?
I'm on the second page. I just flipped to the back of the first page. Okay? Now we do number 20?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 20, I only have 1 angle inside the triangle.
Yeah.
But how could I get some other angles inside the triangle? Think back to that one we just did. What else do I know about the angles inside this triangle? Can I get any of those measurements?
You do 60 plus 80 plus 8 plus 51 equals 100.
Okay, but how do I know though? Because right now the 60 and the 80 are not inside the
Because
triangle.
You have to get what the x is.
You do. But hold up for just a second. How do I know? What Darian just did was correct. But he assumed that these angles were the same as these angles. Okay, because the ones that add up to 180 have to be inside the triangle. How did he know that this one was 80? Seth again? The vertical angles again, right? So this is 80 degrees, and this is 60 degrees. And now I know these 3 add up to 180. So now I'm going to write an equation that says 60 plus 80 plus x plus 51 equals 180. Okay? So I'm trying to solve to figure out what x is. Now I'm going to take and combine these three numbers. And some of these worked out kind of weird. They worked out where the variable was negative, which is okay. Okay, the variable's allowed to be negative. The whole angle couldn't be negative, but the x could be. So this comes out to be 140, and 51 is 191 plus x equals 180. What would I do with this from here?
180
Minus 191. And I end up with negative 11. And that's okay. Your x value is negative 11. All that means is if I did negative 11 plus 51, that would make 40. So that means that this angle is 40 degrees. Okay. Okay. Let's do 22. What do I know about these three angles in 22?
Oh, I got positive 11.
You subtracted backwards.
Yeah, I did.
What do I know about the three angles in here? They always add up to 180. The answer to that question every time is they have to add up to 180. How many degrees are right here? 90. So this is 90, so you should be writing it down if you didn't do it. Plus x plus 37 plus x plus 67 has to equal 180. Mm-hmm. So how many x's do I have over here? 2. So that becomes 2x. And then I'm going to add together my 90 and my 37 and my 67. Let's see, that's 127. 194? Yes? So 2x plus 194 equals 180. Now what? Okay. Subtract 194 from each side. That's going to give me 2x equals negative 14. Yep. Divide by 2. X is negative 7. Now, is that what the directions said? Did the directions say find x?
Yeah.
Directions said find angle A. Yep, so now I'm going to go back to angle A, which is x plus 37, and plug in that negative 7. I'm going to say negative 7 plus 37, and that's 30 degrees. So that would be my answer, is 30 degrees. So you do have to pay attention to whether it's asking you for what x is or whether it's asking you what the angle is. Okay? Questions on that? Okay, let's switch to the next page.
We're doing every page.
Doing a couple of every page. All right, number 4. How do I find this angle if I know these two?
You add them.
Add the two interior angles together, yep. So 80 plus 25 is 105 degrees. And that means this is, and you don't have to minus it or anything. This is just 105 degrees. Now, if I asked you to find this angle in here, then you would subtract from 180. Okay? Let's do number 5. I'm going to use the same idea here, except this time I'm not looking for the angle on the outside. This time I know the angle on the outside. I'm looking for the angle in here. Darian?
140 minus 45.
Right.
And you get that inside.
Because what you're really saying is 45 plus question mark has to equal 140. Well, this is the same as just like 45 plus x equals 140. And then I would subtract the 45, subtract the 45, and you end up with 95. Question mark equals 95. Because 45 plus 95 equals the 140. Okay? All of that okay? Okay. Oh, let's pick one on the back to do.
10.
Number 10? Okay. Number 10, what do I know about these two angles? Whoops. What do I know about those two angles on the top? I don't know that because I don't know if these sides are equal. But what do I know about them in relationship to this angle on the outside? No. When I have two interior angles, what do I do with them to get the exterior angle? You add them. This plus this has to equal that. That's what we were just talking about with the exterior angles. This plus this always has to equal the outside angle. So that's exactly what I'm going to say. I'm going to say 5x plus 10 plus 58 has to equal 11x plus 2. Okay, well, now I have to solve it. So over on this side, I can combine the 10 and the 58, so I end up with 5x plus 68 equals 11x plus 2. What do you want to do from here to solve this? Laquan, what do you think? What would I do first? Well, I need to get rid of that 68. Okay? Yeah, and stop doing that, okay? Because the whole point of me calling on people is to see who knows what. I appreciate you trying to help, but... Okay. That's a plus 68, so I want to get rid of the 68. The opposite of adding is subtracting. So I would get 5x equals 11x, and then this is going to give negative 66. Okay. What should I do now? Not yet. Hunter, what do you think I would do next here? This is my equation. If we're trying to get all the x's together, which one do you want to move? Well, the 5x is already by itself. How do you want to do it? Is that 11x positive or negative? So how do I undo that? How do I get rid of a positive? Minus. Good. So I'm going to minus 11x, minus 11x. Okay, so negative 6x equals negative 66. Divide by negative 6, and x equals 11. Okay, I should see all of that work on your paper. Okay, Mrs. Barr, did you see a lot of work written on paper as you were walking around? Okay. Good? Let's jump over here. Okay, complete the congruent statement. What that's asking you for is it wants to know if this is your congruent statement, if those two triangles are congruent to each other, I want to know what segment would have to be congruent to FD.
KI.
How'd you get that?
Because I just know it.
How do you know it?
Because it has the 3 hash marks.
Okay, so you looked at the markings on the picture. So FD has 3 hash marks, so this one has 3 hash marks, so it would be segment KI. Now what about something like number 4? Number 4 doesn't have any markings, but it does tell you this. So what angle would be congruent to angle W?
G, because it has that angle. It's G. I know it's G.
It is G, but why?
Because it's the same point.
Okay, it's in the same position. So see how W is first here and G is first here? That means those two angles have to correspond.
I wasn't even looking at that. I was looking
Okay.
at the previous.
Okay, now the thing is on the picture, you can't go by visuals. You can't look at it and say, I think those two angles look like they're about the same.
Well, I just knew it because of the point.
Okay, but I mean there's 3 points. So you can't go by the picture if there's no markings on the picture. Okay, just be careful with that. Okay, let's do 7 or 8. Anyone have a preference?
8.
8? Okay.
Oh,
All right, 8, we're writing a congruent statement for the triangles, which means we're going to say triangle such and such is congruent to triangle such and such. Remember, for these, you can name the first triangle any way you want. Okay? Jared, name the first triangle for me. In number 8. Okay, CDV? Yep.
read that thing on your board, I thought it said something else. It said hi on.
I don't know what. I think that's from a
Yeah.
song, but I don't know.
The first thing, so I was like, did she really have that on her board?
I did not write
Oh,
that
down in
at all.
the house.
But okay, CDB. How would I name this triangle so that it lines up with how Jared named this first triangle for us? C is congruent to which one over here? H, right? Because of the markings. So we would have to start with H. Then we went to D. Which one's D match up with? I. And then we went to B, which matches up with G. So this one would have to be H-I-G. Now your answer could look different if you name that first triangle differently. But you have to make sure that C and H are in the same spot, and D and I are in the same spot, and B and G are in the same spot. Okay? Okay. Let's go to the back of that page and do like one of 13 through 18. Darren, can you go sit down? Or I'm saying, Maja, can you sit down?
Everyone always does that.
Because I was staring right at you, but you act a lot alike.
Cool. We act like we're 5.
Okay. Guys in the back,
Yeah, it's always,
have a seat, Maja. Thank you. Okay. 13 through 18. Anyone have a preference for one of those? 16? Okay, 16 wants us to mark the triangles to show this congruence. So I need to show the angles that are congruent and the sides that are congruent. Okay? Angle H is here. Okay? What angle do I also have to mark over here with one mark? Angle H goes with angle J. See how they go in order? So angle H would go with angle J. Then I'm going to mark angle I with 2 arcs. I goes with which one over here? Nicole, what do you think? Angle I would go with angle, I'm in these triangles. Okay. I goes with T. And J
Oh, I was on number.
goes with, Ryan, which one would J go with? J goes with which one over here?
Oh,
S. Good. Okay, so those are your angle markings. What other parts do we have to mark? The sides. So side HI goes with which side over here?
JT.
JT. Yep.
IJ.
Side IJ. Jamija, what does IJ go with? IJ matches up with
T8.
T. Which side matches with this one? TS. And we put the calculator down. I don't know what you're doing with the calculator right now, but you don't need it. Unnecessary. Thank you. And side HJ matches up with, what do we think, Alex? HJ, which side goes with HJ over here? JS. Good. So that's what those questions were asking you to do. Okay? All right, these ones, probably we don't need to spend a lot of time on these.
Yeah.
These are your triangle congruence theorems. So these are SSS, SAS, ASA, AAS. Okay? Any one of these in particular that you need help with?
None.
Number 6? Okay.
Side angle side.
It is not.
Oh.
What other piece of information do we know in number 6?
When they cross it, that's an angle.
Okay, good. So when they cross like that, you have a congruent angle.
Angle side angle.
And so then that would be angle, side angle.
I
Good.
want number 5.
Okay, just a
Is that
second.
none?
Angle, side angle. Yep.
Yeah. It's none because it's different.
Because it can't- you can't-
Well, no, it's none because you don't have enough information. You
Yeah.
only have one angle and one side.
Yeah.
So this would be none. Good. Okay. Let's do something back here. Which one looks particularly tough?
What? I didn't do anything.
Yes.
I got
We're gonna do some more tonight, and then you're gonna turn it in Monday. Okay. Let's do. Yeah. Let's do number 2 first. Okay, but we can do number 7. Number 2. I have 2 congruent angles. If I have 2 congruent angles, what else do I know I have? 2 congruent sides across from those angles. So that means these 2 sides are congruent. So what is x? X is just 6. Good. Let's see. What about number 5? What's this angle going to be? Okay, it's going to be x, right? It's going to be the same as that. So you could do this 2 different ways. You could do it formally, like you could write out an equation. Or what could you do with this 40 if you're trying to figure out what those x's are? Subtract from 180. Yep, 180 minus 40 is 140. And then we would divide that by 2 because we've got 2 x's, so x is equal to 70.
That's a cool way to
Okay. Which one did you ask about, Seth? Number 7? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 7. Which 2 angles are congruent in number 7?
54 and x.
Okay.
So it's
No, hold on. These are my 2 congruent sides. Okay? So the ones that are congruent are the ones across from those. So that means that this angle up here is also 54. These 2 angles are the ones that are congruent because these 2 sides are congruent. Can you see that? That these 2 sides are congruent, so these 2 angles are congruent. So now how do I find x? Just, nope. Nope.
54 plus x. Something, something.
I thought you were going somewhere with that.
Really? You did?
What, if I just gave you that as a triangle, if I didn't give you congruent sides, if I just drew you a triangle
Oh, I know.
and said, hold on, and I said, this is 54, and this is x, and I said, find x, what would you do?
You would add the 54s,
Okay?
and then
And then minus from 180. That's right.
Really?
Yep.
And
You've got, Darian, enough of that.
he always interrupts me while I'm trying to answer.
Gosh, that must be frustrating.
I know. It is.
Okay, 54 and 54 make 108.
I'm good.
So then I would do 180 minus 108, and that's 72 degrees for angle x.
Junior.
Okay? Okay, and then 9 and 10 I crossed off as being a little tricky, so I wouldn't worry about 9 and 10. Okay.